No, this is it unless somebody accidentally joins on Zoom instead of watching via YouTube. But nope, this is your core group.
Okay, very good. Thanks a million. Appreciate it.
Wow, I feel like I'm up on the stage.
You are. You guys can go ahead anytime. We're going to go ahead and let you just do your presentation, and then we're going to break for just a minute and turn around and get up on the stage. But you guys can go ahead and we've got your plan up on the screen. So when you want to flip the slide, you might just say, Ron can flip it from back there. He's got it on the hard drive.
But what are we following along on?
No, you're following along on the presentation that you have, so you can just follow the slideshow, our slideshow. They're going to be watching the same thing, but I provided them that PDF I sent you this morning.
Okay, good deal.
Great. Welcome to the CAPC's workshop. It's October 14th, 4 o'clock Central Time in the auditorium. Go ahead. Thank you.
Is that our cue? Sorry, I couldn't hear what you were just saying. Is that our cue?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, great. So y'all should be looking at the same slide I am. It says 2020 supplemental plan recommendations. Is that correct? Great. So first, I just want to thank you guys all for the opportunity to present and speak this evening. I know that we all wish that we were there in person, and we are working on plans actively. Actually just revisited it today to come up there very, very soon. So hopefully at the next meeting, fingers crossed, God willing, we are there with you guys all. Hopefully the weather is beautiful for us because it's still muggy here. If you could go to the next screen, please. Y'all should be seeing the goals screen. So a couple of weeks ago, you tasked our team with developing a strategic solution to help impact tourism to Eureka Springs during the latter half of the year. Currently, our campaign is running through November, but you wanted to extend that, and you asked us to come back with a solution based on a couple different budget tiers on what we would do to pretty much extend and hit these same goals. So during the fall and winter, again, coming up with a solution that drives the overnight stays, bed tax collection, economic awareness, pretty much taking what we've been doing and evaluating it to determine if that's something that we want to continue in the end of fall and winter, beginning of winter, to continue to make some positive impacts. If you wouldn't mind going to the next slide, please. So we should be looking at our media plan markets. So we are recommending continuing with the same markets that we are in for the relaunch fall campaign. So these markets were identified based on a number of first and third party sources, information based on website, AirSage data, partner data, proprietary data from our media vendors and so forth. So we are finding that these are markets that we are advertising to, and we are seeing visitation from them. So we don't want to change them, we want to keep with them, and all of these, again, were strategically identified. Next slide, please. You should be looking at campaign timing. So this campaign that we are recommending to you all for the supplemental budget would start November 9th and it would run through December 20th. What we're trying to do is impact November through January travel. Campaign would run 6 weeks. Now, please keep in mind that what we are seeing right now from travel trends is that people do have a very short booking window. However, we don't know what that's going to be like in a month, 2 months from now, especially because this is the first holiday season that we're going to go through during a global pandemic. So right now, we're not sure what we're truly going to see from a book window perspective, but we do want to make sure that we are making double the impact in November. So we're going to continue to run the current campaign in November, and we're going to start this supplemental campaign in November to try to do as much impact as possible. So again, our current campaign ends November 15th. As a reminder, that was a total of a 15-week campaign that was impact for fall. And then we also are running the, evergreen campaign that includes pretty much always on paid media, paid social, etc. Next slide, please. So targeting demographic, this is changed, but very, 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 very slightly. We're going to continue with our millennials and Gen Xers, but we're going to target with the early boomers. All of our trends show that a lot of the baby boomers nowadays they're not traveling as much as they were due to health concerns of the pandemic. However, we are coming around to the holiday season. We are anticipating, and research is showing, that they are starting to become interested in traveling again. So we are and would like to introduce these early boomers back into the mix. So what we're doing from a targeting of an interest perspective is people who are interested in food, culinary, shopping, outdoor, nature, same interests that we had before. Next slide, please. With this, I'm going to actually pass it over, excuse me, to Cindy to walk you through the strategic recommendations on how we would utilize the budget options that we were provided.
Hello. So first we want to take you through the KPIs that we keep in mind when we put together the media plan.
Cindy, real quick, I want to make sure that you guys are on the KPI slide. That is slide 7, media plan KPIs.
There we are.
Thank
The
you.
one with the goals. So the 3 things that we'll be looking at for this campaign are awareness, making sure that we keep people dreaming and inspired about the destination. And then specifically for the digital media, we look at video completion rate, VCR, and click-through rate, CTR. So those are the metrics that we use as our success for the campaign. Next slide. I wanted to remind you all of the overarching strategy in the traveler segments that we are targeting. We started this back in at the beginning of the campaign in June, and we know that in the current environment, people have varying levels of like how comfortable they are with getting back into traveling. So we want to approach them with different media strategies. Now there's all different levels of people's readiness, but we have kind of bucketed them here into 2 different segments: resilient travelers and reluctant travelers. So the resilient travelers are those who are ready to travel and they are currently looking for travel opportunities. So we would want to reach them in lower funnel digital media, places like Expedia, where they are actively looking for travel opportunities. That's what I mean by lower funnel. They are like closer to actually booking. And then reluctant travelers are those who are still hesitant. They're still not quite sure, but they're not completely opposed to the idea. We just need to coax them a little bit more. So we need to provide them reassurance. And for them, we're going to reach them in media that allows for inspirational and informational-based media, where we can give them pretty pictures, we can give them video, and give them the guidance that they need to help them make that decision to visit. So that's the resilient and the reluctant segments, and that is what guides our media strategy. Next slide. So first, I wanted to touch on, as we look at this surplus budget that you tasked us with putting together something for, we looked at those 2 segments and said, okay, we definitely want to make sure that we're touching on both of those. So because we wanted to affect that short-term booking, we want to make sure that we make a difference in this period of time before the end of the year. So resilient traveler, they're ready to go. They're a tiny bit more important to us because we know we can affect them easier. So we put 2 items towards resilient traveler and 1 media item towards reluctant traveler. So you'll see here that for resilient traveler, next slide, the 2 media items that we're recommending for that, if you're all looking at the slide that has Expedia and Sojourn on there. Expedia, you have been doing, and the way that we will target Expedia is a focus on people who are actively looking to travel, and they're actively looking to travel within that period of time that we're telling them. We know that they are specifically looking to travel between November and January. We want to give them that period of time. And this would run on Expedia and hotels.com. And it's really a way to be very specific in, we know these people are actively in market for travel. Now, you guys have been doing Expedia and having great success. So Expedia was set to end on 11/15, so this would just extend that through December. But I wanted to just share with you quickly that through that, from the July through September campaign, we have seen 715 room nights generated from that campaign and $91,000 from that campaign. And that's just from a spend of $19,000. So that's an ROAS of almost 5. So this has shown really, really good success, and we want to continue that momentum. So at this point, Expedia is already on the plan, so we would just be continuing this. I also want to point out with Expedia, these are banner ads that are running on Expedia and driving to a landing page on Expedia, because if those people are already there and they're already interested enough to click on an ad for Eureka Springs, we don't want to take them off somewhere. We want to keep them close to booking. So this is actually clicking to a landing page where they can continue that journey. Sojourn. Sojourn is a vendor that has hundreds of first-party relationships with travel companies. Anything from, they don't disclose who they are, but it might be anything from Hertz to Avis to American Airlines to Delta to Marriott and Hilton. They have that first-party data, so they can actually target people as they are in market for travel, and they are looking at either your competitors, and then we're going to show them a banner ad, or they are looking for that type of experience. They're looking for travel in Arkansas with outdoor opportunities or whatever. And they are also looking to travel November to January. We can also specifically target people who have booked a rental car and fit those other criteria. So we know that road trips are uber important right now. So both of these are ways that we can really look at exactly who we want to look at, and we know these are travel intenders, and we can just be really granular in how we target them. So both of these they would pick up 11/9 and run through December. That is to target that resilient traveler that we're talking about. Next slide is the reluctant traveler. Next slide. You should be seeing now something that shows Scripps Octane at the top. That is the vendor. That's our media partner that we use to work with for connected TV. This is streaming, connected TV, OTT, it's all the same thing. But this is when people are not just watching like the local broadcast station, but they're watching streaming. They might be watching networks like A&E, Hallmark, TBS. We are blacklisting news because we don't really want to be in that environment for this kind of messaging. So this is targeting people in our demographic, in our geos, and they are streaming. And this is that top of mind inspiration, showing them the beautiful video and inspiring them to travel. Next slide. So this is what the $50,000 budget this is how we would allocate this. 17,647 to Expedia, about 15,600 to Sojourn, just shy of 12 to Scripps, and then 5,000 for our ad ops, which is the amount of money that it costs us to serve the digital ads. So that rolls up to $50,000. Now, we also wanted to come to you with a $75,000 option. I actually am super excited about this additional $25,000 option, so we're going to share that with you next. Before we move forward, do we want to see if there's any questions on this, or should I just keep going?
I have one.
Okay, fire away.
What is your fee on the 50,000?
What is my what? I couldn't hear.
Your fee. What do we pay? What are you receiving for this 50?
Oh, that's a Rudy and Kristen question. I do this part.
Okay.
Hi, can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right, so per our contract, we do get a 15% commission on the media that is placed, but we are not charging an additional above and beyond that fee. So we already have a fee in our current contract that we get each month, but we are not charging an additional fee for this. It's just that standard commission.
Thank you.
Of course.
so next slide. For the additional, if we were to look at spending an additional $25,000, what we would recommend layering on to what you already saw is a radio endorsement campaign. Now we know that radio endorsements work very well because they are that, you know, the radio personality is really like that original influencer. You all hear about influencers now and Instagram influencers and all that, but that radio person that we listen to in the morning or in the afternoon, that is like the original influencer, and people really care what they have to say and where they're going and what products they're using. So we think this will be a really nice layer for that reluctant traveler, as we talked about, the inspirational, which we're reaching with the streaming, and the informational, and that's what this would be. So we also did a little bit of research on what music format, what kind of station we would want to do. So we did some research in that, and the top music format with our target audience is country. So we looked at country music station in our 3 key markets: Oklahoma City, Little Rock, and Kansas City. These are the 3 top country stations in each of those markets that you see there. KTST in Oklahoma City, KSSN in Little Rock, and KFKF in Kansas City. So this would be 60-second endorsement spots by the talent, and then 30-second pre-recorded radio spots. So the talent we would write a 30-second script, the talent would record that script, it would run across their air, but they would do 60-second endorsements talking about how amazing Eureka Springs is, and that would sound very organic, and you know, that they are really recommending that their audience visits Eureka Springs. So it's more than just a recorded spot, it's them talking about Eureka Springs. So this would run from 11/9 through 12/20, 6-week campaign. So what kind of endorsers did we find, you ask? That's the exciting thing here. iHeart was able to come to us because they have a station in Oklahoma City and Little Rock. They were able to come to us with, next slide please, Bobby Bones. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Bobby Bones. If you are country music listeners, I'm sure that you are. He is the top-rated syndicated country morning country music show. He's in 150 markets across the station. He does not do local spots. However, he has agreed to do this for Eureka Springs. And that's because he grew up in Mountain Pine. You guys probably know that town, but it's about 4 hours away from you there. He has a real fondness for Arkansas. But this guy's big time. Like in 2017, he became the youngest person ever named to the National Radio Hall of Fame. That same year, Forbes named him the most powerful man in country music. He's currently filming his own show for Nat Geo. It's called Breaking Bobby Bones, where he travels around the country and finds like people with unique jobs, and they like teach him how to do their job. He was the winner of the Dancing with the Stars a couple years ago, and he's on American Idol as one of the mentors. So this is a very well-known national personality, but he loves Arkansas. He's actually considering running for governor in 2022. I don't know if you guys have heard that. So this is a really big get, and we're very excited about this opportunity. So he would be endorsing your people traveling to Eureka Springs in those 2 markets, Oklahoma City and Little Rock. iHeart is making that possible. Kansas City does not have an iHeart station. So I don't want to make poor little Ed Walker here sound like he's nothing. He's a pretty big deal in Kansas City. But he is a very well-known morning personality there on the top country station. He's a big supporter of St. Jude's. He sponsors this charity motorcycle ride to Memphis every year. He's really good at working with clients. He's just a real, like, loves to get on his motorcycle and do rides around the area. So we think he really aligns with the audience, and he would be a great endorser in the Kansas City market. So those 2 together would be your endorsers, and with a 30-second spot running and the endorsements running, that all comes into the next slide, the $25,000. So that's the 75, same things as before, but then the addition here is that 25,000 for the radio endorsements. The ad ops doesn't go up because this isn't digital. There's nothing additional to, no additional digital to serve there. So that is it. Fire away with any other questions you might have. You guys excited about Bobby Bones?
Well, Cindy wouldn't stop talking about it as soon as she heard about it, so I know she is.
I must confess, I've never heard of it.
And y'all don't have to ask questions right now, but, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
I know this is a lot of information to digest, so, you know, don't hesitate to think about it, get back to us. I do know we will want to know, you know, as soon as possible so that we can pull a trigger and get this in motion, but please don't hesitate to reach out to us if you do have questions. If you don't think of it right now, that's okay.
Will you guys want them to stay for the workshop or make it? I don't think they need to. Okay, y'all, you're free to go.
Free to go.
You weren't handcuffed,
Well,
but,
we won't make you stay for the change around. You're all good.
okay. All right.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Go ahead and fly that back up in, I'll fly this out.
So the only question I had was maybe country, is that really Eureka's market? I don't know, because we don't do much country here. Do we think those people travel here? I know the motorcycle people probably listen to country.
It probably is.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm just trusting that they know what our,
Well, I think they know their stuff. It's just, you know, when I came here, I sort of assumed country would be big. It's really not here in Eureka. So that's the only question. And do we want to spend 35 more? We haven't.
Did you see the Carroll County Tribune?
You mean the article?
Oh, thank
It's huge. I couldn't even begin to. I thought, man,
we
this
get
is a
papers
novel.
too.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, I know.
Dude,
We
I
have some
can't-
to write on.
How am I gonna read all that?
I can read it.
He doesn't have a case.
Thanks, Kim.
Well, the way they make it, he does.
Oh, I think I got, did I get this to you?
And there was light.
Oh, I got it, actually.
And there was like,
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you. So does anybody have anything to add to what we just saw? All right. They need, is our next meeting's not for 2 weeks. I know we really can't vote except in those meetings, but do we want to get a consensus today if we will be interested in doing the 50 or the 75? That might,
So,
I'm interested in the 50.
I mean, we're in meeting, we haven't taken roll or anything, is this?
This is workshop.
No, it's just workshop.
it's just a workshop,
Okay.
yeah. So just to get a feel for it.
I'm interested in the 50.
You're, okay, Susan?
I'm kind of torn. I said I'm torn.
Oh, okay. Bobby?
I'm a little torn torn too. I'm not a big radio gal. Never have been, or I haven't been for a long time. I don't know how effective it is, although sounds like he's got a great following. So that's where my being torn is because of the fact that he's got such a great following. So I'm gonna have to percolate on it a little bit.
Okay, Joe?
So I'm interested in all of it because I think it's all good, and anything that we can do to market this year to put us on a solid footing starting off next year, I think is great. I mean, my question really is for Rick, and is can we afford it? Do we have $75,000 to spend on this?
We do.
Okay.
We're great cash-wise and collection-wise, so.
Okay. And this is going to come from that amount that we took out of reserves at the beginning of this year.
Well, no, we'll have to actually adjust our income because our income is up. We should never have to touch the reserves. I mean, it's there in the budget, but we kind of need to, like when we approved the 50,000 the other day.
Right.
We didn't approve increasing the income, which makes the budget out of kilter. So at the next meeting, we'll have to make an adjustment anyway. So
Right.
we could just adjust the income by 50 or 75, however you want to do it, and then
Well,
just.
and so we've already told them we're going to spend the 50, right? Yeah, didn't we do that last?
We didn't vote on it.
We haven't voted.
Because, did we vote on it?
Yeah, you
We voted on the
approved.
50.
Right, but not
Sure.
the 75. So we
Yeah.
would just have to vote
Well,
to add 25.
We didn't vote to spend any money, we just voted
To discuss and
to
have them
discuss.
present.
Yeah, we still have to vote.
Right, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
So
we didn't actually
we still
vote
have to
on
make
spending money.
that vote.
So I guess the question is, can we wait 2 weeks
No,
for them?
we
She's
said that if
texting me
we
right
needed
now.
to, we'd do a,
Do you want me to ask her?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, let's find that out.
If we vote on it in 2 weeks when they're here, is that
Sufficient?
is that going to still get us in the game?
Okay.
November the 15th or whatever the date was,
No.
9th?
Yeah.
We would need to have a special meeting and get on with it so they can get to developing the product.
Yeah.
I mean, November's just around the corner.
Yeah, I know, and we really want to make sure that they can be as successful as possible, so, okay. All right,
I'll ask. She's typing.
all right.
Go ahead.
So Rick is going to take over the budget portion, and we'll do what we did before with advertising, try to talk about this in sections where we're in agreement, and then see what we need to work on, maybe before next meeting, certainly before our October meeting.
She just said it would, if we can vote ASAP, that would be better.
That would help her. So why don't we do this, since there's some people that are conflicted? If we can just get a feel for it, Gina, can everybody maybe just get back to you? And
Sure.
if you just let her know if you're definitely 50, Terry, that's where you are. Or if you think you might vote for the 75, just let Gina know. And we'll have a feeling. We'll do the official vote in 2 weeks, or we can call a special meeting if y'all.
Well, I think what Gina just said was as soon as
ASAP.
possible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we need to have that probably, what is today?
Special
Wednesday?
meeting.
Yeah.
So it's going to have to be before the 2 weeks. So either this week or next week.
She just said as soon as we could. Maybe she could clarify if we voted in 2 weeks.
Meeting.
Well, she
Can
said
we
it takes time to negotiate
Yeah.
all that
Good
and
deal.
coordinate it all,
well,
so.
question then, how about, who would be available next Wednesday to do a special meeting? That's 1 week. You think she could live at that?
Yeah.
Is anybody not available next Wednesday at
I
4?
I just have a question.
Yeah.
Are we able to call a special meeting during this event?
Carol can call one anytime she wants to, so
can give
she
a
could,
notice of-
if y'all want to.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to find out who might be available next Wednesday.
Oh, I was just saying if we could do it, I don't know. Bobby, do you need more time than tonight to really think about it?
No,
I mean, we could do it tonight or today if we wanted to, if you called it.
The media has to have,
Yeah,
Oh, that's
she can't
true.
call it today.
Okay.
They have to have
That's
2
true.
hours' notice for
Okay.
the media.
Okay, so we could do it maybe, we could do it tomorrow or Friday.
sooner the better.
Okay, yeah.
Tomorrow,
Friday would be better for me. I've got a birthday party. My granddaughter's birthday's tomorrow,
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm out for tomorrow.
So how does Friday at 4 sound? Would you rather do it, Greg might have trouble with 4, well, not necessarily.
Let me look at,
how about 3?
Friday at 3 o'clock?
Earlier would be better for me.
Earlier would be better, yeah.
Okay, is 3 o'clock okay?
Yeah.
Bobby, you okay with that?
Yeah, Friday early.
So
would be
we'll work on that. I'll check with James and who else? James and Greg, right?
As long as it's
Oh,
not
we're
at 3
missing.
or 4.
Okay.
3.
So that should give everybody time to figure out which way you want to vote.
Yeah,
It
I want to
doesn't
go home
matter.
and Google
It's
him a
fine.
little bit.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, and I can send you that presentation again that they
Yeah, I
just,
just send you
she
one.
sent me those slides, so if you want me to resend
Yeah.
that.
Right, and maybe send it to James
James
and
and,
Greg.
I'll just, yeah, I'll send it to them.
To see, and let them know,
Okay.
we need to vote on that.
And so you guys you're confident that this doesn't put us in a financial bind?
Oh,
That's my only concern.
Yeah, not at all, not at all.
As long as you're confident. We're here to market the town. It looks like a good plan. They've got it ready. All we have to do is say yes, and then we can push into hopefully a very positive January.
So I know the restaurants seem to be doing fairly well. I haven't heard anybody.
It's busy in town.
How are bookings, Susan? How are your bookings for
They're-
like,
I mean, we are having the best October we've ever had, and we have no weekends available until the end of November as of right now.
got it?
So it's been
I mean,
great.
this will definitely help, I think, in December and maybe
Yeah.
for shopping,
Well, and the goal is that, obviously, we're here to help market the town. That's what we're supposed to do. And we know people have losses. I mean, so whatever we can do to make up that loss, to help them get closer to those numbers that they need to be for the winter, I think is what we need to do.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, Rick's going to walk us through the budget.
Okay, the other night, or at the last meeting, when you approved the media portion up for Paradise, you approved 711,000, and actually, I only had 700,000 in the budget for that, so we're $11,000 kind of short on our expense side, so we're basically going to have to cut $11,000 from another line area, which basically leaves events or group travel, or also on marketing support. If you stick to the 3-year thing, we could cut that amount down because almost all of our events have been going for more than 3 years.
So marketing support is the money we give basically to mostly the nonprofits? that
Yeah,
come in?
to like the cemetery tour, the tour of homes, the Veterans Association.
My gut kind of, sorry. Susan, go ahead.
I know the governor just today announced an additional 60 days on the emergency. So, I mean, personally, we're doing fantastic here, but I think that's probably going to extend until, I would say until March. So I would think that marketing support, we're not going to be doling out any money for any of, I don't want to say that I'm saying it for sure, but I will bet we won't have too many events in the first quarter of 2021.
True.
No, I'd like to propose that if we're going to cut anywhere and try to keep our money with Paradise, which I think is smart, that we take money initially from events until we know what events are actually going to be available to do.
Well, it's probably true that the first quarter, at least, is going to be dark, I would imagine.
We just don't know.
And we can review
Yeah. we
on
sure-
here when these events are happening, because
Yeah.
we don't have all the dates in front of us either.
Right. Okay, so,
I do have a question, though. When you're trying to eke out $11,000, guides and postage, is that a set number? Because it's been that for quite some years, or for a couple of years, I guess.
Yeah, it's basically what we spend to mail out the visitor guide and produce. Now we produce a
The
dining
in-house.
guide and an in-house guide as well.
Okay.
I don't know if the chamber's going to do a visitor guide next year. I haven't seen any marketing suggestions to send your stuff in, so.
well, they would have,
Normally
would
August
be
is
in
their
production
deadline.
now.
Yeah,
Right.
normally August is their deadline, so. But this year, that postage for that guide is out of marketing support. It doesn't actually come out of that guide. We're fulfilling all the guide requests that we get from our office.
With our own produced guides,
Yeah,
correct?
with our own
Okay.
produced guides, or the fun guide. It depends on what they request.
Okay.
And some of them still request the visitor guide as well, but they used to always just forward to the mailing company that does the visitor guide, but we fulfill them all in-house now.
And do you need that entire amount, the 30, to cover that?
You know, I'm not sure if we, well, the chambers come out of marketing support, their guide postage expense anyway, so it wouldn't really come out of that. We could probably lower that some. There's not as many people ordering
Well, I was
the
going to
paper
ask,
materials that there used to be.
are all of our guides, and I haven't looked, so sorry, but are all of these
Like a flip
flip
book?
books? Yeah. Are they all every single one?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so I just think, I mean, it's going to become less and less, right?
Right.
So
I mean,
is there any criteria that you could change within the request? I mean, what is the request? Is it, they have the option of checking the box as to how they want to receive it?
there's just a button on there that says request visitor guide
Or view it online.
or
yeah.
view it online, or view it online.
We could maybe reverse it and give them the option to view it first.
Right.
And then, under that, request a.
If you still want.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what it is. There's a question that's additional after they have already viewed it online, that if they still want a printed version of it, I mean, that's what I would do, because I think once they get through it, they may have the information they need. And can they download it onto their phone?
Yes.
Okay, well then that's what they should do.
And if we did have to cut that sum at the beginning, if we get halfway through the year and we're strapped, we can always, adjust the budget to put more money in there.
Yeah, and all that information is on the app anyway, just in a different format, right?
Right.
So is that on there as well? Do we have a call to action for them to download the app?
Download the app?
Yeah,
Nah, not on that page, no.
we should probably have that there too. Because then they have a walking version of all of that information.
That's good. If we decide to support the parks brochure, where would that fall? Was that money we need to add to this budget, or is it something?
That would come out of that guides and postage line, probably, I would guess, that we were just talking about.
Got it, okay. And just, Gina, you were going to get some more other prices on that for us, were you? able
Yeah,
to-
Right Mind checked with the company that printed it before. She told him that they could print 15,000 for $2,800. But since then, he's been trying to get it in writing instead of just a verbal agreement, and he hasn't been able to get a hold of anyone in about 2 weeks. So he was verbally told, yes, that's the price we can give you, but
Okay.
I can't get it.
And that's better than, what was it, 7,000 or something?
It was much more, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That's great, if you can get it in writing.
yeah, exactly.
And do we have someone now at Parks that we'll be working directly with on this?
Yeah, we can reach out to somebody there and.
Okay.
They did, Right Mind did get all the files. That was kind of a concern whether they'd be able to get them, because that would be a huge expense to start from scratch. So they
Right.
do have all the files that they can just edit and change. So yeah, they'll need to sit down with somebody at Parks, but there are people there that,
Great.
can
Okay,
help.
well, that sounds good. So in that 25,000, how much of that would have been Parks? How much did you,
I don't know that I actually put
but it would
parks
just,
in there.
it would fall there.
Yeah,
So that's a
That's
place,
the category it would fall out of.
we might have some fat there.
Right.
Okay.
That's kind of a guesstimation category, because until people order the guide, you don't know how many you're going to be sending out.
Right, and on the 711K, I think I just had that burned in my mind. If we need to vote again on that, and,
No, I already told them that we approved 711, and it
Okay.
actually works out because in their proposal, it didn't include travel expense when they come to do their
Got it.
video
Okay.
shoots and stuff.
Okay.
So I actually just plugged that 11,000 into video production on this latest worksheet.
okay,
And I marked it approved because we already approved the 711.
Okay, so under just media for now, since that's kind of where we are, is there anything else we want to talk about, or you want to give us some advice on as to we might have that in there?
No, in fact, I cut contingency 5,000 already. So, other than marketing support in that section, or maybe the guide postage,
So you might be able to adjust those a bit?
yeah, we could if we needed to.
Okay. All right, do we want to do that before we vote on it, or do you want to vote on it and just have the overage there if we need it?
It needs to be done before we vote.
Okay.
I mean,
It's better to do it beforehand, just because it's hard to change numbers at the table
Right.
and then vote
Yeah.
on them. It's
Okay.
better to have them just in
So
front of
we'll,
you.
we'll have those numbers before we vote. Okay,
Right.
that's cool, that works. All right, you want to pick another section?
Okay, down in the next section, the expense production, that 11,000 was that travel expense and stuff for the
Video,
agency,
okay.
and the agency was already approved. Graphic production, that's our Right Mind contract.
How does
That was-
Yeah, how does that contract work exactly?
It's a monthly payment. They don't bill us for each, like if they build an ad, they don't bill us for an ad. Every month we pay them $3,500. Previously, it was $2,500 a month, and then Mike was really piling on to them, so they raised it to $3,500 a month. Working now a lot through Paradise, maybe we could go back to the 2,500. I mean, it's worth talking to
Yeah,
them.
that's my question for you and Gina. What is your comfort range with what they're being paid for the services rendered?
I mean, right now, they're not doing as much because we're not doing events and stuff. But when there's stuff like that going on, and they do, like for Voices, they designed a whole new poster for them last year. They'll do it for everybody. It's not just necessarily our events, but they'll do anything we ask. I mean, yeah, I mean, at a normal time, they're worth every penny of that because they do it fast.
And do you think not right now is a time for a discussion with them to maybe cut that back until things regenerate? Or, I mean, that's got to be your call, in my opinion, because you know what's going on and how important it is. And
I mean, we're still we still talk to them on a weekly basis and have them, doing
so,
things.
it's got to be in your comfort range,
Yeah.
you two, that
I mean, I hate, I don't
that the
know.
value is
They're
there
just so
for the-
good to us. I hate to, I want to give them what they're worth because no matter what and they've come up and done the photo shoot, they are going to come up and do another photo shoot in the next few weeks. And, that doesn't cost us anything extra. So I think it's okay.
so is there an advantage to us to get them to come and do possibly as a trade-off from what they were doing before to do an additional photo shoot or something
Sure.
like
I mean,
that?
yeah.
I mean, because most of our videos, even though, haven't we kind of reused a lot of that?
Not this year. Pretty much Paradise has ran with new stuff.
Okay.
In the past, we had a license with the ones that we did for 2 years, and
Right.
then we paid $900 to use it after that.
But we're not doing those anymore,
We're not
right?
doing those currently.
So anything that is coming out or would come out for 2021, it'll be all new stuff, or are we going to reuse anything we used this year?
I would assume they can use some stuff we're using this year, but they're going to do 2 new ones next year.
Paradise is.
Paradise is. So we'll have completely new ones, and they're good for 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
So,
I would just ask them if there's something else that they could do to make up the difference. And if it's a good idea, then, let us know. And as long as it substantiates the fee that they're getting. I mean, they may have some different ideas on things we could do. I mean, at least find out.
you bet.
Maybe since we will be spending money at Christmas time and hopefully we'll have people in town, maybe it would be good to have something we could use for the holidays and, in coming years as well. So maybe they would consider doing something like that.
Sure.
It's a good idea.
Okay, the next category is special events. That's where we usually spend most of our time on the budget. These that are listed on here are the ones that Tracy sent for next year, her requested ask. I originally had 165 in the original budget, and her ask came in at 189, I believe.
Can we just get some dates on these? When are they expected?
The closest I've got is the Culinary Craft is in August.
Okay,
Rat Rod is in September. Atmosphere Music is spring through fall. Fat Tire Festival is in June. The Folk Festival's in November. And Drumming in the Park runs from April to October. And then the odd shows would just be whenever somebody was available to book in.
No music in the park or,
or is that atmosphere?
That's the Atmosphere Music.
oh, okay.
So
I didn't know.
is that actually in Basin Park, or will we continue any the overhead music?
I would like to do Basin Park definitely, but depending on how things go next year, you know, our entertainment district is up for revoting in November.
Right.
So if the entertainment district passes, it would be more relevant for me to try to implement atmosphere music around, such as I am with the overhead music series.
Okay.
So, right now I'm envisioning both, definitely utilizing the park once that's available to us again. It's missing.
And when did we start the Basin Park music series? Was that May or was that April?
April.
Okay.
So this would be like April through September or October?
November, was it October, November?
April through October is drumming, and I think we usually do the Atmosphere Music those same months generally.
April to
music in the park,
October,
yeah.
okay.
That total ask was 183, not 189, I'm sorry.
183, and originally you had 165.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And auditorium shows would be our shows. And do we have anything on the books right now for 2021 in the auditorium through, that are big shows that we are not producing?
Right, we do. We have 2 right now. However, if the mandates for the auditorium don't go away, the shows aren't going to happen.
Okay, when are they, what date?
May is the
May's the
first.
earliest?
I think
Okay.
May is the earliest one we have. Maybe March.
Cocoa is April.
Well, yeah, Diversity Weekend, April, the first weekend into April, Coco is supposed to be here.
Coco Peru?
Uh-huh.
And, okay, that's
But
you know,
that's,
April of 2021. And no tickets are on sale yet, right?
Coco's have been on sale because she was supposed
Okay.
to be here this April.
Right.
And then she
Oh,
was going to
right,
come in August and then, or no, November, but now she's postponed till next April. Again, I think if things don't clear up and go away, that probably won't happen either. I can't say it's
Oh,
not going to,
goodness,
'cause
I
it's not our show,
hope
but.
by the end of March, we're
Yeah.
through this.
Right.
Okay, so May will be the first, or April will be the
would-
first.
Yeah, April would be the first show in the
Can
auditorium.
you tell us who May is or not? If you can't, I
Uh,
understand.
May is the one that's supposed to be next month. Robert Earl King.
Oh, yeah, okay. Got it.
We don't have a
We postponed
specific.
him, what, once?
What's that?
Didn't we postpone him once?
Twice.
Twice,
Yeah.
okay. All right, cool. He's really good about advertising on his site, I've noticed too, so, okay.
We're trying to get a specific date from him, and you know, they're all trying to reshuffle all their dates and route themselves, but
Right.
we're starting to get a lot of requests to find out when it's going to happen because it was supposed to happen in November. So I've been pushing Larry, and he's pushing them, but you know, they control their destiny, so.
What does Larry think he needs lead time, you know, to put on the show? Is his first show you say it's May is what we're looking at. So in order to advertise that, the state is going to have to open this up by the 1st of March, or
It's best to have 90 days.
90 days?
We've done it at 60, but 90 days is optimal.
Yeah, so we would need the, 1st to mid-February
Right.
for the state to open up and say, you're good to sell out all seating, and that's what he's probably wanting, is all seating.
Right.
Half is not going to cut the mustard.
Right. Well, and because of the logistics of our theater here, the way everybody has to go up and down the stairs to the bathroom, social distancing just doesn't work here. So even at our 66%.
Look at how close the seats are to each
Even at our
They have room to
66%,
breathe.
we really can't make it happen
Yeah.
and do it safely and properly. That's why we're not doing anything this year. It's just, number one, to try to get help, willing to do it right now is not going to be easy anyway, so.
I hope we can do it.
Me
I'm
too.
ready.
So in looking at the special events, culinary and craft in August, that's a lot of money. Just wondering what types of events we'll be doing during that time.
Can you go over to the mic, Tracy? I'm sorry, because they're recording this.
For that's listed in August. As we all know, that's typically a slow time of year. So I'm hoping to attract a crowd that maybe doesn't have children going back to school. A big part of that is me securing a celebrity chef. So that's going to be a chunk of that budget.
Okay, that's a weekend event?
Yes,
Over a
ma'am. It'll
weekend,
be.
okay. Got it. All righty. Anybody else got any questions on the special event budget? Oh, Christmas decor. Is that stuff we're going to buy again this year?
I put that back in there. We pulled it out this year. It's up to y'all. Again, I'm just trying to
What do you think?
work with.
Leave it.
Leave it, so we'll keep buying each year? We're going to do the same deal where we buy used stuff and, yeah, okay. Great. All right. You want to go on to the next section?
Sure. Group travel, we reduced that from 75,000 last year down to 47,000, mainly in part because the whole outlook of group travel has changed through this, and Karen's doing that part-time and front desk part-time, so she won't be on the road as much. The travel trade shows right now is not a good venue to be in, I don't think. They were trying to get us to do a virtual one for like $5,000, but that's not feasible, so we reduced that budget down to 47,000, which is a comfortable number for Karen, I believe.
Okay. How about what's next?
The odd expenses, let's see. Oh, we took the contract labor out because I'm not going to do any more contract labor at all.
Right,
And
okay.
put that under the salaries, which is why the salaries went up 5,000 from last year.
Okay.
Our insurance is going up $100, so that's just $100 more than it was last year, or this year, actually. Concessions, I dropped down a couple $1,000 because, we don't know how many shows we're going to have. I'm assuming the first part of the year we're not going to have anything, so I dropped that down, and I dropped the odd operations down 3,000 from this year as well, just to try to run a tighter ship.
Okay. Any questions on that section at all? Okay.
Okay, and then the last section, on the capital expenditures, I have 5,000 in there, which is up from this year. We're due for a new server in our office. Our server's 12 years old, and that's where all of our systems operate, our QuickBooks operates on, and it's really getting slow. So I put that in there to, and actually our server, they're no longer going to service the Windows 8. It's actually a Windows 8 server, and they're no longer going to service Windows 8, so it's due for an upgrade. That's something we rarely spend. I mean, we don't, like I said, it's been there 12 years, so for a piece of electronics, that's pretty good. Public relations is the same as it normally always is. That's just stuff that we do locally, like this month we have Parks and Tourism having their meeting here in Eureka Springs, and we usually have to provide a dinner or something. It's that type of thing that comes out of that fund.
Okay.
Postage, that's just our in-house postage as the tax office. I send out late letters, credit memos, statements, that type of thing. Memberships, that's the same as it has been for several years. The salaries, that was adding in the I added in $55,000 salary for the admin in there. And also, the events is in there too, rather than in the events category. Right now, it's a contract for services.
So did you take contract for services out and add it to salary then?
Right, I did.
Okay. And is it the same amount?
Yeah, I put that in there as 42, which is what the contract for services was.
Okay. And the contract for services doesn't include bennies, right?
Yeah, it does not, but payroll does.
Okay, all right.
Office supplies, that's miscellaneous stuff that we stamps and stuff that,
Okay.
whatever we paper clips, you know, that kind of stuff. Computer software and IT, that's all of our programs like our MailChimp that we send out the newsletter with, and Adobe where we can work on PDFs and pictures and that kind of stuff. Comes out of that. Email and web hosting, URL hosting is our website hosting. We have like 6 websites that we actually maintain. They're on actually just 2 servers.
Okay, well, I think the other ones are pretty self-explanatory. So in order to, can you rework this for our next meeting and make that 11,000 melded in?
Okay,
One thing I'd like to see is a breakdown on the salaries
okay.
for, it's five people now, 5 positions.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful. Yes, ma'am, Bobby, sorry.
Well, I do have a question on the telephone internet. What was that? What was the big increase there? I'm sorry.
Telephone internet. Oh, it's up to 72.
Yeah, they raised our internet cost. You know, Cox keeps playing this game where they up the minimum speed, but they also up your price. And so
Have you looked at another,
we
like AT&T? Or
yeah, and in the end, you end up the same amount of money. I mean, we had AT&T before we had Cox, and we left AT&T because they kept raising our rate. And you might be able to get an introductory rate, but to switch over all the phone lines and stuff is, you basically just have to pay the people one way or another.
So where do you think, Rick, this 11,000 is going to come from?
It would just about have to come out of events. I would probably do it out of the auditorium shows. I mean, if something came along that we really wanted to do and get, we could always adjust the budget to put it in there.
I just had a suggestion in my, just off the top of my head. The Christmas decor, what if we dropped it a little bit? You know, I don't think anybody's going to come to town because we get another Christmas tree or a few more new signs. If we drop that 10,
Right.
I think people would come to town to see a show.
Right.
I don't think people are going to really care if we have anything Christmas. I mean, $10,000 could come out of that, in my opinion,
Okay.
easily. And then maybe another 1,000 out of marketing support, and there'd be your 11 right there.
Okay.
We'd still have a little bit of budget for Christmas, and we'd still have budget for marketing.
Right.
I'm just trying to think, you know, what are people coming to town to see?
Right.
You know, they're going to come to town to see a show in this auditorium, but I really don't think they're going to notice
Right.
if we have a few more lights or a few more street signs
You bet.
or another Christmas tree. That's just my opinion, so.
Okay.
Okay. Any other comments? So what I understand Rick is going to do is rejigger this so our figures are in here. I want to specifically look at our salaries and make sure, because we had decided we wouldn't hire an administrator for a time, but we need to make sure we can work all these salaries in, and I want to make sure that they're appropriate for comparing around the state. I've asked the other A&Ps to send me their salaries.
They're good about doing that, too.
Okay. All right, any other questions, comments from anybody? Anything else from you guys?
Just let me know as soon as you can on the Friday special meeting,
Oh, yeah.
so I can get the notification out.
I think, let it out. Let's do it, right?
Well, I'm going to check, it's very important. I've always tried to make sure all of us can be there, so I'll do my best to make that
Sure.
happen. Okay?
If we've got 4, we'll have a quorum.
Right,
And hopefully the other 2 can,
yeah. It just,
Indeed.
it's, if everybody's there, nobody gets a chance to complain.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
all
But
right,
at the
so
same
I'll
time,
make that attempt.
we need to move forward, so,
Okay.
Yeah, we absolutely do, and
Right.
I'll make them know it's urgent. All righty,
thank you.
thank you very much. Will you check with Greg? And
You
I'll
bet.
check with James,
I will.
okay?
Okay.
All right.
See you.
Yeah.